I'm John from Unix Surplus, and today we're going to look at one of our barn find systems that I got out of the surplus thing. I haven't opened it up yet, but I'm really excited about what we can get here. This is an old computer, and I hunt around it on my recycling buddies and everything else, and they always save this stuff. I'm super excited about this because I see right down here 8-inch floppy drives, and these are some good old like Shugart 8-inch floppy drives. So that's going to be really exciting. 8-inch floppy drives were like CPM computers, which was before Bill Gates wrote DOS. That was pretty much DOS before that. A little bit like Apple IIs were based on that. Bigger data. I don't even remember. I think they sold like 60K on the first ones, but they were big drives, and we're going to take a look at it. So what do we got here? We got a pretty much an American-made, like an aluminum custom frame. You got a nice, beautiful on-off and a good old red light. You got 8-inch floppies here that come in and out. Hit the button and go. Reset button, hand labeled. And it says here you got A and B on your drives, and to start the system, type A, and then it's all scratched out, carriage return. So it doesn't know how to start the system even. Insert disk when label down. So these are upside down mounted shoe guards. See what's in the back of this barn find. We've got a CRT, which is like a DB25, which is going to be a console port. We've got serial printer, parallel printer, and AC, and it's got its own set of outlets there too. So it's pretty interesting. I kind of peeked in the side here when I saw it. I saw some data cables. I don't know what this thing could do. It could be like a floppy storage subsystem, but I think it's a whole computer because we got all that stuff there. Let's take a look at what we actually have in here and what's going to happen. Let's take, what do we got? Let's see what we got here. We got some power supplies, power regulators, Zilog 5 volt, 24 volt, 2 amp. So the 24 volts for communication. And let's take a look at these drives. What do we got here? We got these Shugart model number 800-4, like good old 8-inch floppy drives with like some nice opto relays to detect what you're at. All these voltage regulators here, 74 LS. This vintage used a lot of AC that would then go put DC, and it had separate sub-regulators. Very similar to today's modern computers where they just give a crap ton of 3.3 volts and then you make it into 1.3, 1.5 if you're a turbo guy, and you run your different thing. But this beautiful, nice old things here. We got a fan here, probably an AC regulator type of power supply that comes in here and somehow sits to give AC for the floppy drives or an AC motor or something like that. Probably an AC. Pretty antique-y. You got somebody's custom board here. If you look at the blue board on the bottom, we've got agats. So this is like your IO card. This is gonna be your serial parallel card. So let's see what the serial parallel card looks like. Okay. Woo, look at this, man. I think this is like CSC or CC, but you got all your serial processors here. What are these part numbers we can check out here? Let's get in close in there. These Zilog Z80s. These are like your serial parallel processors that were all integrated from computers. It's got its own 5 volt regulator. I remember soldering out 7805s. Somebody's jumper pack to do something else too, to make how many goes. What's our crystals going around here? This crystal, or 16 megahertz. So 16 megahertz running its own serial IO. This looks like S100 bus is what this is, I think. All this is silver traces, not actual things. And all the little dips here have gold. Let's see what the next board is. We've got a memory board here. It says 64K dynamic memory. I mean, I remember rolling these chips to get it in. These are NEC C06136-0Q23. Like, these are like 230 millisecond memory chips probably. That was the speed when it had a -2 on the side there. NEC memory made in Japan. Look at how tiny the memory chips are. We used to end up putting these in dip modules, but you got 2 voltage regulators on this board here. I think this is like CSC, or that was the company that my brother kind of named his company after, CSC. So I think it was really close. What do we got here? What's next? This one here goes to the floppy drives. So this is probably like your data processing buffer card. It says multi-mode floppy disk controller. Well, that's pretty cool. So you can do 2 floppies. You got probably your A and B on the same cables. Remember, they just flipped over some data lines after the control, and you would just toggle a data bit. Same control between the 2 drives. You can use them at the same time. Again, all those beautiful circuit side, you know, some of these boards you could even order hand soldered. So let's see what's next. Intel, we got a CPU. P8085 from 1980. This is California CCG, that was not CSC, it was CCG was that logo. This is California Computer Graphics. You got an 8085. I believe the 8086 was the PC, and that was a 16-bit CPU with an 8-bit bus, and then the 286 took it to a full 16-bit bus. I think this is an 8085 is an 8-bit CPU. So we got an 8-bit CPU here and an Intel 8085 built from that. What's our crystal here? Yeah, 6 megahertz. That's how I got my start, is my brother would sell different like 6 megahertz or 7 megahertz crystals, so you could run your computers at different frequency and overclock them back in the day. You got some SRAM memory here, some 16-bit kilobit, 30 nanosecond, probably from Japan. Again, this looks like a Hitachi chip. Some Fairchild chip from Singapore, 6847P. Okay, now let's see what our proto board had here. This is the proto board and had this reset button hooked up to it. Ooh, I love that sound. Look at that terminal. Come on in here, you gotta see how much action this button has here. You kids talk about clicky and orange type, but feel that button. Oh yeah, that's got power on your reset, man. Now you have like a kind of proto board where they could do some things with some buffers to data lines. And what did this do? So this is like you could hand sew on a buffer board. They even cut it in half. This is their own thing. It's a Terminator board. So this was for your bus, and any type of bus you had to have some resistance on it, on your data lines. And this just basically took in like one chip wired up with some diodes to the bus line to insert a reset button, it looks like. It's all kind of hand glued together. So this is a totally 1980s made in America computer before you had Taiwan building all your iPhones. This is how we would do it back in the day. We'd go get some power supplies, slap it together. We'd go to our buddy's aluminum machine shop, you'd bend it on a brace. Everybody would handwrite their stuff here. Oh, look at I got a 5 amp and 1 amp and my fuses here and what your colors or your different boards are. Again, this is all stock-based stuff that they would build things with. Can't turn it on yet. You got to probably rework all the capacitors inside. All this stuff where we would hand make our own little assemblies back in the day, label it up, which the transformer winds to get you all your different voltages you need into that power supply. Pretty simple regulators, not very high thing. You'd even have a potentiometer just to get that last little clock thing too. This Zilog probably drives these shoe guards with an AC line too coming through here. This one here is probably all for the computer system here with a fan. Another fan over here, these are all AC fans. These are all like 120 volt AC fans. We didn't run our fans in DC back then. That's what we had. We had AC motors made. All this stuff is like made in America. Totally what we used to do back in the day. I can remember my brother's first S100, the cards went like this. He didn't have cards that go like this. This is probably the Lamborghini because it has cards that go the other way. But here's a great little barn find we have here from 1980s vintage computer. We got this out of the recycler. It's what I love to do. It's my hobby, is to try and save all this type of IT equipment and just put it back into collectors' hands so you do. So we're working with some of our collector friends, see if they have some CPM floppies to boot this type of stuff up. Take a look at the ROMs maybe later if we want to, or possibly we'll just lease it up on eBay. Any of you guys who are fans on our channels here who want to know more about what Unix Surplus does, we'll do everything from the GPU server all the way down to this 1980s stuff because it's just so cool and we're nerds about it. I mean, man, what beautiful, even like the little aluminum blocks that somebody had to machine off. You can see the machine marks so that he could have his drives things here. Really cool, old vintage can-made computer. Probably somewhat low production, maybe about 50 computers total ever built on this thing. We don't know who really made it. Handwrites, this is how you do it. As you'd buy your cards in the computer shopper to, I need to have a computer graphics memory board or whatever it was, and you'd order that up. And we go get these back in the right order and put it together. Very satisfying feel back in the day, all your floppy disks made those noises and Belts are still good, even good rubber. You can see all the quality of the connectors we had back then and how it all worked. Pretty cool S100 computer. This is what we love to do, get you surplus and find it. Thanks for watching.